defending on FIFA 23 has changed slightly with the changes to recent patches. Today's video, we're going to go through and show you the best ways to defend in loads of different scenarios. Let's jump into it. So when it comes to reading counterattacks and trying to stop the play in that tracks altogether, you have to know when you can step in and how to step in effectively. So the opponent picks the ball up here and lays that ball in the middle. What I immediately do after being with these midfielders is switch over to my centre half. The reason why we switch to the centre half is that these midfielders are so far away, they're not goal side of the ball, and we need to be careful of any sort of movement while also applying a little bit of manual pressure to that ball holder. So I go for the offside trap, which is one of my personal choices to kind of keep the defensive line high. Because if not, if he triggers a runner, say at the top of the screen here, these might start running back. And that's the way that we can combat it. Now, Havertz has the ball in the middle. What we're paying attention to here, as best as we can, is the arms out from any of these players. Are they making those runs in behind into what is a load of space to kind of capitalize on? He doesn't take the touch upwards after I maneuver slightly in with Varane while holding L2 with that jockey. And then we switch to Van Dijk. Now is my time to go and step in. Why do I step in there? It's purely because of the big touch that the opponent takes with Havertz. That's my cue to say, I want this ball. I'm going to take it. You saw the touch there. So we do one quick switch over to Van Dijk. And then we sprint jockey. We hold that R2 and we hold that L2 and we come and step in and we press the tackle button to take away that ball. Being strong in the tackle, reading the play, reading when the ball is there to be won. However, let's say if he maybe didn't take that touch, what do we have to be mindful of? We have to be careful of that Cavani making the run in behind. So what I do instead is manually switch to Cancelo, get him on his bike, and then apply pressure back to the Havertz. But it's purely because of him taking that heavy touch that we decide to step in. So in our next example, we're going to see us use our player switching quite frequently, positioning the players where I want them to be, and then reading the play as and when kind of accordingly. Now, the big switch is coming through here. I take that player switch off screen onto João Cancelo, and that's where I'm using the mini map to be able to kind of do that and make sure that I am where I want to be. When I step up here, there's a key part about this, right? We're not trying to step in and go round him and win the ball. He's always going to have his player between the ball and me. So I can't tackle him here without giving away a foul. One of the biggest mistakes people make, and on post-patch, this is the very risky thing that you can do with it. If you step up here with your fullback and you don't win the ball, it's so much more unforgiving when players like Neymar, Mbappe's, Gakpo's, Vinicius Jr., whoever who's quick and can go, you're not going to catch them. So I just keep myself goal side. I right stick switch into the Sissoko to try and cover off, pass in the middle if he's possibly going to look for that. I pull him back. He then goes for that pass into the middle, and I immediately switch back to Sissoko, holding R1 for that second man press, so he can come over slightly with Kevin De Bruyne. Now he gets the ball out here. We have to be mindful of the byline drive, which we'll get into in some more examples. But this is Ake up against João Cancelo. Is the opponent going to go for that? More than likely not. So what I do is I switch over to Van Dijk. I hold second man press with R1 on PlayStation, RB on Xbox. You can just see me doing it here. And what that's going to do is allow João Cancelo to press the ball holder for me while I get ready to cover what is his next pass. I put Van Dijk in the lane. This is a risky maneuver because what can happen is the opponent can just lay the ball in behind. But I'm expecting him to lay the ball into feet. So I choose to step into it and we go ahead and win that. If you want to elevate your FIFA game and take it to that next level, you can get one-to-one coaching, squad reviews, and access to multiple videos to help you get better at FIFA. You can join our Patreon page starting from £4 per month. A link is in the description. So we actually make a bit of a mistake here. We lose the ball and Cancelo is now caught out of position. Remember what I said? When they break away on the wing, it's very difficult for you to get back and recover with the recent changes on the patches, right? So when this ball comes out and, we lose it, this is where we kind of have to make a decision to bring Van Dijk over. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky because in this area, normally you'd be fine with this, but Gakpo has the ability to actually take Van Dijk on if he wants to. Now, when I bring over, I'm not charging at him directly and saying play that ball, now. What I'm doing here is I'm playing the long game. I'm trying to get my players to get back. I don't want to make a massive mistake here with Van Dijk by bringing him out and letting him play that ball in behind because Varane isn't where I need him to be. So I'm just playing the long game. Use your Varane and your Van Dijk, your right centre-back and left centre-back, as almost, they've got strings attached to them. They're basically attached to the goalposts at all time. And if you keep them on this path, you won't really make too much of a mistake yet. There are a time and a place where you obviously bring them out, which we'll go into here. So I keep running back, and now it's about going. Why? Purely because if you watch the movement from Varane, you'll see how he changes his angle to come downwards. And that's my cue to say, let's go. See him running up there? And then literally, as soon as I arch down, Varane comes down with it. I'm closing the angle down, and I'm getting ready to kind of cover if needs be. Now, I've done what I needed to do with Van Dijk. I've positioned him where I want him. I then right stick switch upwards to manually defend this run. I'm then going to hold R1 for that second man press again. So Van Dijk keeps applying that pressure. And now we're comfortable. We're in a really good position to defend this. Van Dijk's applying pressure and I'm covering the most dangerous option, the most dangerous pass. He takes one ball roll on the inside and now it's about applying that pressure and just letting that man go offside. Varane's smart enough to just say, look, I don't need to keep going with him. And he'll take that one. And then it's a simple save, but offside regardless. One of the things that you really have to ensure that you do when defending is to spot dangerous runs and kind of identify which is the most dangerous and be on it as quick as you possibly can. Again, we're using a lot of right stick switching here to be able to do this. The opponent beats through my middle line of midfielders and manages to get through in between the centre backs and the centre mids, and this is quite a dangerous position. You want to try and avoid being in here as much as we can. So when he gets into this area and he finds this Van Persie, this now is about us, Bergkamp, sorry, this now is about us remaining calm with our defenders. You can see we have a healthy back line. The 4 is where I want them to be. Again, I'm not stepping up and driving out like a madman and charging at the opponent here. I'm trying to just think about keep myself goal side, apply a little bit of pressure with sprint and jockey. But then as I get close to him, let's just keep behind him, keep goal side, right? So that's exactly what I do in case he takes a touchdown there and I can then step in and win the ball. But now this is where runners start to go. I switch in between both the players to manipulate their movement and get them the way that I want to be. This right here at the minute is the most dangerous ball. This is what I'm covering. Van Dijk is now, look at my analog stick, running back towards my goal. That's what's going to happen because that is the ball that I need to protect. This player about to receive the ball, he right now isn't the most dangerous threat. What is this runner in the middle. I hold second man press, R1 on PlayStation, RB on Xbox. This is so crucial. It applies pressure out to that guy on the ball. Now, I'm happy Van Dijk is where I need him to be. He's covered that. I switch back to João Cancelo, the player closest to the ball, to apply manual pressure. This thing is huge for me. I expect so many players on this post patch to run down here and run down the line to look for that swept back off across. To stop players from getting there, you have to stop them in the tracks here. It's not about trying to stop them in the 18-yard box. It's about trying to stop them from getting there altogether. So that's where we're being aggressive. And now the opponent lays the ball into Van Persie. But from our previous work, our defensive line is already where I need it to be. And I can now just sprint back with Van Dijk and just muscle that out and say, thank you very much. That's my ball to have. Because we read the play, we gave ourselves a head start. The defensive line is still solid. It's still neutral. The constant use of player switching to manipulate the defenders the way that I want them to be is so important. So as we've spoken about, driving the byline is very much a go-to method right now for a lot of people on FIFA 23. And it all stems from stopping it in the tracks like we've spoken about. However, if they do get into this area, you have kind of one or two things, and you're either going to get this right or you're either going to get it wrong. And hopefully you get it right more times than not. When the opponent gets into this area, previous FIFAs, a lot of people would like get here and then they cut in and they probably look for a finesse or they'd look to lay the ball off cross. However, a lot of people now are running all the way down to here to look for that cut back off across. So when this ball gets played out, what I'm thinking about here is he going to go down here? And if so, I then need to move my Cancelo to where he is going to be rather than where he is now. If you go and bring your analog stick like this towards the ball, Son is just going to dart past you and you're going to say, see you later, and you're going to concede. if I think about, okay, if he's going to take a touch and sprint down the line, where is he going? I need to move into that lane. And this is where you're either going to get it right or you're going to get it wrong. And it comes with practice. So I'm not going to hold jockey because the opponent is just going to sprint. He's going to look to attack this area. So I'm going to hold sprint to get there as quick as I can, as you can see here on the controller. And then as he gets close, I'm then going to look to let go of the sprint button and just jockey. He comes for a little cut back in, which is really good from him. You know, he didn't go all the way to this area like I probably would in attack. And now we're still in an okay position. We've still got the ability to defend this. This is on us, right? He has the cut back here and he has the cut back there. That's kind of where he is going to go, one of these two options. So I switch over to my Van Dijk and kind of move into that lane. Now, if he lays that pass into Kevin De Bruyne, I'm still in an okay position with Van Dijk to go ahead and get a blocking, get a tackling. I'll just slow this down just so you can see. As soon as I switch here, by the way, I do hold second man press. So at least João Cancelo is being told, look, you need to get back and you need to apply pressure to that ball holder. So if he lays the ball here, into that area or into there, Van Dijk's kind of in that position to defend it. So you want to try and apply pressure in the middle of the park as and when you can. And you can do this once you've covered off all angles and dangerous opportunities. Now, you're not going to be able to cover off every single pass on the pitch. It's just not going to be possible. But normally, the general rule is if you've covered off the most dangerous passes in the middle, any through balls, any opportunities that the opponent may have to break in behind quickly, you want to try and apply some pressure on that ball holder in the middle. So I'm moving Sissoko back now to kind of deal with Van Persie, trying to protect my centre-back so they don't have to deal man for man. And then I switch to Kevin De Bruyne because the opponent is kind of, you know, moving down here, right? I'm thinking, oh, he's going to maybe look for a pass into there or maybe switch it out to this bottom of the screen. But what this has actually done is created like a false sense of security for the opponent because he thinks I'm here. I can then do a very quick switch over to Sissoko. You can use L1 or right 6 switch there and just charge at him. I also hold second man press briefly for De Bruyne to keep engaged and I go and win that ball off him. But why can I do that? What is the key factor about that? He didn't have any dangerous threats forward. I can go and apply pressure if he's just gonna dawdle and go and win that ball. I can stop it there in the tracks and then have myself the opportunity to go forward. So once you've covered those dangerous passes, which here he has nothing on, go and apply a little bit of pressure. Don't be a crazy player and bring every single centre mid out of position. But at times when you feel, you know what? Yep, we're covered. Let's go and step in and let's try and see if we can win that ball. If you have any further questions, make sure to pop them down below in the comment section. And you can click this video on the screen next to me to take you over to some custom tactics of the 4-3-3.